quarterback.
Oh, there's a goal.
Oh yeah, there's baseball happening. You could forget with all the playoffs and action going on in a few other sports. Regardless, the ballpark is always here for you. What with the peanuts and hot dogs and overpriced beer, you're going to need to try and save a few bucks on tickets. Fortunately for you, the resale market is thriving and the perfect opportunity to find such deals. One such option for you to unlock this market is with the power of SeatGeek. Don't trust gut instincts or scalpers. SeatGeek is a hassle-free way to sort all tickets available on the resale market to choose what seats you want. The app color codes all tickets from red to green on a 1 to 100 scale to help with the buying process. It will give you a sneak peek of the view from where you'll be sitting while tickets are scannable from the app itself. And as always, use the code WORDTREE in the link below to save $20 off your first purchase. As summer comes, there will be that itch to get back to the ballpark. SeatGeek, as always, can help alleviate it. Just like everything else, we have to talk about the Yankees and Red Sox first because life is shit. The world champion Red Sox have had a really sluggish start to the year, and there were many reasons why. Mainly that everything underperformed. Mookie Betts wasn't his usual self. Chris Sale had an absurdly high ERA. Try in the sixes at the end of the month, it was that bad. His performance was indicative of the team. Bloated and 6 games under 500. It was beautiful. And then you realize this is Boston and they just went back to form. They are now competitive again thanks to their elite players, well, being elite. Even if Dustin Pedroia may never play again, the Sox are once again a team to be feared. It will be an uphill battle for them moving forward, and that's because of the 2 teams ahead of them. One being, yes, the Yankees. This year's batch of Bronx Bombers are a rather interesting bunch. No, it's not because they have a shitload of money and can patch up flaws by signing anything they desire, but because of what they've gone through this year. Let me put it to you this way. You can assemble a competitive starting 9 of players currently injured. Their entire team is dead. Like literally the majority of the starting lineup is straight up dying due to a list of ailments. How is this not good news for the rest of the league? Well, simply put, they kept fucking winning. If you just looked at the surface stats, you'd think they were cruising along. To be fair, if you played and dominated Baltimore like they've done, a beer league team would look good, but this is fascinating. Leading a competitive AL East with those injuries, with that roster turnover, it's special. For them. Goddamn Giovanni Urshela, why couldn't you be this good in Cleveland? Thus leads us to the next great power in the AL East in Tampa Bay. I had an inkling that this team would be a playoff contender this year, and so far it appears to be a reality. The moves they made over the past few seasons have been a boon. Significant depth in both hitting and pitching. Elite performances from new acquisitions like Charlie Morton and Avisel Garcia. Tommy Pham back to his 2017 form in St. Louis, among other things. However, I'm going to focus on 2 emerging players in particular. Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow. Meadows has emerged as one of the elite hitters on this Rays squad, leading them in average and OPS, mashing one of the highest home run totals on the team, and has been a solid presence as their leadoff man. Tyler Glasnow has all but turned into the next Randy Johnson. His previous struggles seem to be a thing of the past. Despite a current stint on the injury list, he's been straight up dominating his opponents, and it doesn't seem to be changing. There was also another thing these 2 had in common, but I just don't think it's important. They have bigger issues at hand, like trying to get locals to even care for the damn team. In the AL Central, leading the charge are the Minnesota Twins. Kinda surprising, to be honest, but it's to be expected with the strong majority of the core bouncing back after awful seasons last year. Jorge Polanco in particular becoming the rock to build their foundations upon. Not to mention guys like Max Kepler, Eddie Rosario, Byron Buxton, and Miguel Sano reviving or developing. The pitching so far rock solid with an elite bullpen and quality starters like Jake Odorizzi, Jose Barrios, and Martin Perez. Off-season acquisitions like Jonathan Scope, Marwin Gonzalez, and CJ Cron add the needed depth to give this team a shot at winning the division. It's ripe for the taking, but can the Twins keep it up? I honestly think so. There may be some players overachieving, but the attack is perfectly balanced. They may need to bolster themselves at the deadline, but they're in a good position. The same can't be said for the Indians. Yeah, it's not looking that good. It's been a massive struggle for them this season, and I can't help but think they'll be doing some dismantling if they keep doing so. The main cause of concern being the hitting. The only ones really doing anything are Lindor, Carlos Santana, and a rookie in Oscar Mercado. Everything else has flopped. The Hanley Ramirez and Cargo experiments failed spectacularly. Jason Kipnis looks cooked, and where the hell did Jose Ramirez go? Did I also mention they have no catcher because they traded their starter and top prospect in the span of 6 months? It doesn't matter if the pitching is the only thing keeping this team afloat. Wahoo's corpse is in serious shit. All more for the fanbase to keep being pissed in ownership for penny pinching. A guy named Dolan reviled by his constituents. It's like this story is repeating itself. The Astros are also repeating themselves as top contenders in the AL. Nothing much new to report here, besides former Indian Michael Brantley beating the ever-loving shit out of poor, defenseless baseballs. Not much has gone wrong so far, despite the early struggles and injuries of Jose Altuve, but they have enough firepower to compensate for such shortcomings. At least if they don't get more injuries like Carlos Correa. However, they will have to fight off the Oakland Athletics yet again. They started off in a relatively struggling state. They were dealing with injuries to the pitching corps, struggling hitting all around, and having to suffer through Fernando Rodney. In 2019, last year was looking more and more like a fluke, but then they rattle off 10 straight wins. So, what are you, Ace? Mike Fiers will pitch like shit yet throw a no-hitter, and that's pretty much this team. Are you Matt Chapman and Frankie Montas, or Fernando Rodney in 2019? Please let us figure this out. Seattle, goddamn, I was wrong about you. Look at how amazing you're starting off this season. You're 13-2, the hitters are bashing home runs left and right. Dan Vogelbach! There's no way the Mariners let their fans down again. Just as I say this, they, once again, find innovative techniques in the art of dick punching. Unfortunately, Seattle cannot pitch nor field worth a damn, and as a result, went from elite to basement dwellers well below 500 in a month. That's rapid-fire dick punching. More impressive than a playoff run, if I'm being honest. The NL East, what I was expecting to be cutthroat, is in the throes of everyone tripping over themselves yet again. Leading the way is Philadelphia, whom is at the top of the food chain yet is lacking the oomph that I thought they would have. Bryce Harper has been okay? Not the consistent game breaker is hyped, and Philly's letting him have it. Their offense has pieces like Cesar Hernandez and Gene Segura with the helping of McCutchen and Real Muto, but they need Harper to be Harper. Pitching-wise, the bullpen is led by the once-reviled Hector Neris. You'd be surprised to know he's the only reliable bullpen, maybe even pitching arm for the Phillies. I can't agree with this for the Braves, as they have been struggling from a pitching perspective all year long. Luke Jackson isn't bad in the bullpen, but otherwise not much home to write about besides the strong play of Mike Soroka. The organization kinda went cheap on the bullpen, and it shows. They will need more. Freddie Freeman and company can't bail them out forever, and it's robbing them of their true potential. I didn't mention one team on here for good reason. The Nationals. They are in serious fucking trouble. A team that's so well under 500 despite the high-end talents is disturbing. Their stopgaps at depth have mostly failed. There have been injury issues, but the real concern is in that god-awful excuse of a bullpen. Do you really want to know how bad it is? Try a combined ERA of over 7. They're a literal sieve. Water is straight leaking out of the dam. Hate to say it, but it may be time for a significant blow-up. You have a few months to steer the ship away from this fate, boys. Good luck. Just like last year, the NL Central is still a bloodbath. Like a few other strong teams, the Chicago Cubs struggled immensely to start out the year, but have rebounded. The usual suspects are to thank for their recovery. Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras. The issue for them now is in pitching. Not just in the enigma that is Yu Darvish, but they need a closer. I would say Craig Kimbrell, but let's be honest, he was extremely leaky in last year's playoffs. Milwaukee is in the same boat. Dominating performances, especially by a certain Christian Yelich, but they too have issues. Jesus Aguilar and Travis Shaw are struggling. The starting rotation has been inconsistent. Corey Knebel lost to the void of Tommy John. The road is long, but the Brewers have expectations now. They will need much more. Just like the Pirates and Cardinals. Both have sputtered due to differing reasons. St. Louis had an outstanding April. May has been a total nightmare. They've gone from 20-10 to the fringes of 500. Inconsistency throughout the hitting core. The starting rotation going absolutely sluggish. Michael Wacha banished to the hells of the bullpen, for God's sake. They need far more bullshit to get through this dark time. As for the Pirates, they had a lot of overperforming parts last year, but their issue is simple. They cut corners in the offseason. It's been exposed badly thanks to an incredible series of injuries that have left the pitching core barren. The offense has mostly been lackluster, resulting in a god-awful run differential for their record. The key starting pitchers are either injured or have fallen apart like Musgrove or he who shall not be named. Thank God for Melky Cabrera. And especially for Josh Bell turning into a legit masher. How he destroys baseballs has been one of the few bright spots on their season. I don't know how else they would survive. They get 3 years of this before he is traded to a real team for some more magic beans. The Dodgers, to no one's surprise, are dominating the NL West. Bear witness to Cody Bellinger destroying baseballs left and right with impunity. If he is unavailable, then Jock Peterson should do the trick. Also Alex Verdugo for some new blood in the hitting core, because what they needed were more outstanding rookies. For pitching, Hyunjin Ryu has been straight up dealing. Walker Buehler turning into a legit top-flight pitcher, and oh yeah, there's also Clayton Kershaw. Just don't mention Julio Urias. We do not speak about him being a fucking idiot. Behind them are the Padres. San Diego is intriguing. I don't think they're ready for the big time just yet, but there are some strong strides being made towards relevance. Fernando Tatis Jr. has been strong when healthy. Chris Paddock has been a huge addition to the pitching staff as well. Kirby Yates has been the dynamite closer that makes them forget about Brad Hand. Even then, the injury gods have not been kind this year. They have obliterated a lot of their depth and skill. There was still much work to be done, but they needed to show something this year. Kind of proud of them in a way. Colorado never makes this easy for us, do they? Just like last year, I have no idea what they're supposed to be. A team that will look like they're on a downward spiral for stretches of time, the pitching falling apart, and then they'll easily rattle off 8 straight wins. At this point, they're back in the playoff hunt, but who knows if they'll be in a week. The case for them surviving, Nolan Arenado and Charlie Blackmon are their usual raking selves. David Dahl and Trevor Story are blossoming into quality options as well. On the downside, pitching depth. Chung Hwan-Oh is more of a generic enemy instead of a final boss. Kyle Freeland transformed from Cy Young to Cy Yokel in the span of 9 months. The only decently reliable pitchers they have are Herman Marquez, Wade Davis, and Scott Oberg. Most teams have about 9 more on NL rosters. It's like playing with fire. Now an ode to the tanking and the mediocre. Baltimore, you're just trash. Chris Davis is still terrible, no surprises there. The only thing worse is your pitching, giving up over 110 home runs before June. Good fuck. Toronto, you suck, but at least you have Vlad Jr. and Kevin Biggio to distract you during these troubling times. The forgotten Chicago team, a squad without a true superstar to carry them. Although Lucas Giolito is emerging into his true form and you aren't total shit, it's still frustrating. Royals, why are you wasting Whit Merrifield? Why do you still think Homer Bailey is a starting pitcher in the MLB? This is the life of tanking. Detroit, they may not be openly trying to tank, but by God, they're doing well in it. A straight-up collapse with nothing in the immediate future on the way. Just pray for Casey Mize. That is all. Angels, stop wasting Mike Trout and the surprising Tommy La Stella. Why is Matt Harvey still starting games? In fact, I can say this for the entire Texas Rangers rotation. Incredible mediocrity to find wasting a decent hitting core. As for the Mets, well, they're the Mets. Injuries galore, massive disappointment, and Mickey Callaway is somehow still here. Oh dear God, I can't wait for the traditional Bobby Bonilla Day roast. The Marlins are unsurprisingly trash, and then go and win 9 of 12, so I don't know anymore. Cincinnati, I wish I could say your team is better, but alas, it is still shit. The issue now, though, is in hitting. Matt Kemp and Yasiel Puig have been total flops. Joey Votto has fallen off the face of the map. Perhaps Nick Senzel will not be this. Arizona, what are you? You have outstanding defense and top-end pitching, but after that, inconsistency. Maddeningly so. And finally, the Giants. Oh, San Francisco, the only thing more consistent than your losing is DFAing your players. A dark age in the Bay Area awaits. Cling on to those trophies while you can. I'll go more in depth in the All-Star break, I swear.
Tom, it looks like we've had a bug infestation. I'm wondering if it is a big colony of bees here. You see all the bugs that are flying around the Giants dugout?
Check him out.
Yes, that is Derek Dietrich. You got to love that guy.
No doubt about it.
I mean to tell you.